Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something absolutely fascinating. We're looking at why the England versus Argentina football rivalry completely transcends the sport, acting as this massive, multi-generational clash of national memories, psychology, and identity. You see, when these two nations step onto the pitch, it's never just another match. Every single pass carries more than just tactics, and every tackle echoes decades of intense emotion.
Right. Let's dive right in by starting with one of the most famous quotes in sports history. It was born from a single match that perfectly captures how two different nations can view the exact same event completely differently. A little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. Diego Maradona uttered these words after a game that literally changed football history forever. But to really grasp the immense weight behind this quote and why millions of people still fiercely debate a match played decades ago, we actually have to go back to the very beginning. So, let's kick things off with Act 1, the spark of connection.
Ironically enough, this rivalry began with a shared connection, way before the intense controversies of the modern era. Modern football was obviously born in England, but in the late 1800s, British immigrants, we're talking workers, engineers, railway builders, carried the sport across the ocean and introduced it to Buenos Aires. And Argentina didn't just adopt the game, they embraced it with this remarkable passion. What started as a British pastime slowly wove itself right into the very fabric of Argentine national identity. So, by the time they finally met in international competition, the dynamic was already set. One nation had invented the game, and the other had completely transformed it into an art form. But the true fracture, that pivotal moment that turned this shared history into a bitter rivalry, well, that happened in 1966 when the nations clashed in a highly controversial World Cup match.
During that 1966 World Cup quarterfinal at Wembley Stadium, a moment of sheer chaos erupted. Just 35 minutes in, Argentina's captain Antonio Rattín was sent off by the German referee Rudolf Kreitmann, and this decision shocked absolutely everyone in the stadium. Rattín claimed he had absolutely no idea why he was being dismissed and flat out refused to leave the pitch. The crowds booed, television cameras captured the massive confusion, and England eventually scraped by with a 1-0 victory. But the football itself, it became completely secondary to the fallout. A bitter war of words exploded in the media of both nations. British newspapers criticized Argentina's aggressive style, while Argentine newspapers accused the officials of unfair treatment. Neither nation forgot that day.
But the tension on the pitch would soon be overshadowed by genuine political tragedy. Which brings us to Act 2, War and the Azteca.
In 1982, the two nations fought a 10-week conflict known as the Falklands War, or in Argentina, the Guerra de las Malvinas. And obviously, this was not a game. This tragic conflict resulted in the loss of over 900 lives, leaving permanent emotional scars and grieving families on both sides. Almost overnight, football became deeply connected to memories that extended far, far beyond sport. The looming question hanging over everyone was, after a war, could 90 minutes of football ever truly remain just a game?
Against this incredibly heavy backdrop, the teams met just 4 years later. The stage was the 1986 FIFA World Cup quarterfinal at the Azteca Stadium in Mexico City. Picture this. Over 100,000 spectators packed the stands for a match that would, without a doubt, alter football history and completely redefine the rivalry for good.
It really all comes down to a single, unbelievable number: 6. Just 6 minutes separated two of the most famous goals ever scored in the entire history of the sport, and both were delivered by the exact same player, Diego Maradona.
In those astonishing 6 minutes, Maradona produced the highly controversial Hand of God, where he leaped up with England's goalkeeper, Peter Shilton, and the ball clearly struck his left hand before going into the net. The referees somehow missed it, and the goal stood, despite immediate frantic protests from the English players. Then, literally just 4 minutes later, Maradona received the ball inside his own half, accelerated, and dribbled past 5 England players to score what commentator Victor Hugo Morales famously dubbed the goal of the century. Think about that. One player produced football's greatest controversy and its greatest moment of individual brilliance in the exact same match.
So, why does this stick with us so intensely? Well, the crucial point is explained by a psychological concept from Daniel Kahneman. He studied memory and decision-making and found that humans retain these peak emotional moments far more intensely than standard experiences. We don't really remember things linearly, do we? We remember the emotional extremes. Think about your own memories. You remember the absolute highs and the crushing lows. And those 6 minutes in Mexico City, they were the absolute definition of an emotional extreme. Because of those intense, wild emotional swings, the exact same 90 minutes created two completely fractured national memories. When England looks back at that game, they remember the painful sting of an illegal goal, just pure, unadulterated injustice. But when Argentina looks back, they remember absolute footballing brilliance and a deeply symbolic triumph that arrived just a few years after a tragic war. Both of these memories are completely real to the people who hold them, and both significantly shaped their respective national identities.
All right, moving right along to Act 3, the Beckham saga.
Fast forward to 1998, where the rivalry shifted from political echoes to intense personal drama, perfectly highlighting the immense power of modern media. We arrive at the World Cup in France. The match is incredibly tense. Suddenly, England's David Beckham reacts to a foul by Diego Simeone with a light kick. Simeone falls, let's just say it rather dramatically, and Beckham is instantly shown a red card. England is forced to play with 10 men and, heartbreakingly for them, loses on penalties. The aftermath is staggering. Back home, Beckham becomes a harshly criticized national villain almost overnight, his face splashed across front pages. Sports sociologists actually study this moment to show just how quickly modern media can transform a single athlete into a scapegoat for an entire nation's heartbreak.
But, you know, football absolutely loves a good redemption arc. 4 years later, in 2002, the teams met again in Sapporo, Japan. The whole world braced for another explosive, chaotic encounter. But this time around, discipline replaced the chaos. England was awarded a penalty. David Beckham stepped up to the spot, feeling the literal weight of the last 4 years on his shoulders. He scored. England won 1-0, completing one of football's most incredibly satisfying personal redemption stories. The very player who was entirely blamed 4 years earlier was now the ultimate hero.
So, how does all this history hold up today? Let's check out Act 4, the science of rivalry.
With all this dramatic history laid out, you might be wondering, why do these specific narratives, from the 1966 confusion at Wembley to the intense Beckham saga, endure so powerfully today? Especially when the actual players and the technologies surrounding the game have completely changed. Leading sociologist of football, Professor Richard Giulianotti, brilliantly illustrates the answer. He points out that these rivalries survive because fans pass emotional memories down through generations. It's like a family heirloom. Children inherit these vivid stories of heroes, villains, incredible victories, and devastating heartbreak long before they even watch a single match themselves. Young fans in England know all about the hand of God, and young fans in Argentina can recount the goal of the century as if they were right there in the stadium, purely because memory travels.
And that generational memory persists even in today's highly modernized game. I mean, look at the sport now. We've got the rise of unifying global superstars like Lionel Messi, who represents incredible consistency and humility rather than pushing political narratives. We have neutralizing technologies like the video assistant referee, VAR, designed to eliminate the exact kind of controversies we saw in '66 and '86. We have data analysts measuring every single inch of the pitch. And perhaps most importantly, modern players are often friends. They compete together in the same European leagues and chat constantly on social media. Yet despite all of this modernization, the emotional weight of an England versus Argentina match remains firmly, undeniably intact.
This brings us to a really fascinating observation by the historian Eric Hobsbawm. He hit the nail on the head when he noted that sport acts as an incredibly clear mirror for national identity, meaning it reflects how a country sees itself without necessarily representing the current political reality. Today's players are incredibly respectful of one another. They didn't fight those old wars, but man, they absolutely inherited the old stories. And it's those specific stories that accompany every kickoff, every anthem, and every cheer in the stadium.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder. The next time these two nations meet, the players will be chasing a single ball, but the fans will be carrying over 60 years of collective memory. So when millions tune in to watch, are they just watching 90 minutes of sport? Is England versus Argentina simply football carrying history, or history wearing football boots? Thank you so much for joining me, and keep exploring.